Now at 6.
Coming in. Police! You're under arrest!
Police move in, making arrests, ending the occupation of the Portland State University Library.
This was a criminal event, no longer a public order event.
How it unfolded on campus and what was found inside the library after it was cleared. Plus, chaos erupts after a tense confrontation between a driver and protesters at PSU. What witnesses say they saw. And the search for a suspect who broke into a police training center and torched more than a dozen vehicles.
Criminal destruction and violence is not protest. It is criminal activity, plainly and simply. And we're here today to tell you that we will hold those accountable to the fullest extent of the law, to the degree that we can.
Vandalism and violence spreading from the PSU campus into downtown Portland met today with a forceful response and concern that tensions will escalate again. Thanks for joining us at 6. I'm Tim Gordon. We have team coverage tonight. John Adams is working to uncover if a fire at a police training facility is related to today's events at PSU. Catherine Cook is following a developing story involving a driver who got into a confrontation with protesters. And Thomas Schultz has details on damage at the main library on campus. But first, let's get to Kyle Aboshi. Kyle, you've seen things unfold on campus since this morning. What are you seeing right now?
And Tim, the past hour really illustrates how unpredictable and dynamic these demonstrations can be. Shortly after 5 o'clock, police had been standing face to face with demonstrators. It was a peaceful situation. Then police left the scene. That reinvigorated the demonstrators who took over the park blocks. Behind me, you can see they have now moved in on the library once again. They pulled down a bunch of chain link fencing that had been erected to protect the building, also some plywood as well, had jumped into the dumpsters and were pulling debris out. Things have calmed down significantly in the past few minutes, though. People mostly milling about and no physical damage to the building at this point as people begin to walk away. This after a busy and unpredictable day involving at least 22 arrests, 7 of them students.
Leave the South Park blocks and the building by using the main front library exit. Leave now.
Police made their move early Thursday morning. Their goal? Remove a group of pro-Palestinian protesters who've been holed up inside the Portland State University Library for the past 3 days.
Criminal destruction and violence is not protest. It is criminal activity, plainly and simply.
Portland police released video of officers moving through the building.
Portland police! You're under arrest! If you resist, we will use force!
As police cleared the 5-story building from the top levels down, they made several arrests, although at least a dozen demonstrators got away after running out the front door. Portland's police chief warned they will be charged.
We have information. We are actively looking for people who were not arrested.
Inside, there were no serious clashes with police, but there was extensive damage to the building. And officers found various items they say could be used as improvised weapons. Portland State had already shut down the campus when it issued a shelter-in-place notice to nearby dorms as crowds started to grow. They chanted, and some got physical with police, leading to several arrests. One man was hauled away, his arms zip-tied behind him. When officers tried to take those arrested to jail, protesters blocked the police transport van.
Let them go! Let them go! Let them go!
Tensions escalated. Officers pushed back, clearing a path for the van. Demonstrators followed. They continued to march through the streets before returning to the Portland State campus, where the library had been cleared after being occupied for days.
And one question that's been raised, why didn't police go in overnight instead of waiting till morning and daylight hours to go in and remove those from the library, allowing demonstrators to convene and stand at police lines, making a situation even more challenging? Portland Police Chief Bob Day said it came down to resources. It's when people were available. They relied on OSP to help out Portland Police. Back to you.
Very active day, Kyle. Thanks a lot. Well, there was a very scary moment on campus this afternoon as a man drove into a crowd of protesters. Catherine Cook spoke with witnesses who took video of that confrontation. She's live at PSU tonight as well. Catherine?
And Tim, you can see what's left of the car behind me, windshield smashed in, covered in spray paint and abandoned here by its driver. It was a terrifying afternoon. During the moments, we heard students screaming and running for cover as it all unfolded just around the corner from where we were. Here's video students shared with us. The white Toyota sedan drove slowly onto the plaza here at Southwest Hall and Broadway. It appeared the driver had a big can of pepper spray and sprayed it out the window. Some protesters confronted the driver, who ran out. He was wearing the bright yellow shorts. Unfortunately, those out here say it doesn't appear anyone was seriously hurt, but a lot of students got hit in the face with pepper spray and didn't know what was going on.
It happened so quick too.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
like,
all happened in a series of 5 minutes.
we turned
maybe.
around and
Yeah.
next thing
We
you
were
know,
getting
there
close
was
and then,
there was someone there, and when there shouldn't be. And then I saw the spray, and I didn't register what it was at first, but then I felt it.
Yeah.
You know, the whole area was just affected with mace, and there were people, screaming for help and running this way, with just tears in their eyes and just coughing, and it was awful.
Back live at PSU, we just learned that campus police took the driver into custody and transported him to a local hospital on a mental health police hold. They're not identifying because of that mental health component, but again, that person has been taken into custody. Back to you.
A scary situation. Catherine, thanks for that. At new at 6 this afternoon, Portland police gave the media a closer look at the inside of the Millar Library at Portland State. In addition to the extensive vandalism and graffiti you see there, you can also see a large amount of supplies that were brought in, everything from soap and first aid supplies to non-perishable foods and bottled water. Evidence that those inside may have been intent on staying for an extended time. Thomas Schultz continues our coverage this evening with more on the state of the library. Thomas?
Yeah, well, Tim, Portland police left about an hour ago, and since then protesters have taken down fencing, they've taken down boards that covered up the library, and it seems like they're even taking back out those supplies that were initially brought in to the library. Now, we also heard from Portland Fire and Rescue, who say that the library will be closed for the immediate future. They say that there was damage to fire alarm systems and that repairs need to be made, and clearly cleanup is still far from over. Days into pro-Palestinian protests at Portland State, an occupation of the school's library movement came Thursday morning, when Portland police entered the library, finding books spray painted, blood on your hands, and walls and floors covered in messages.
They had plenty of opportunity to leave prior to the police arriving.
Ann Cudd, the president of Portland State, closed campus once again Thursday. She says protesters in the library were trespassing, and the police did a great job emptying the building, which had been occupied by protesters since Monday.
We asked for their presence and their assistance only after extensive negotiations using faculty members as intermediaries.
12 people were arrested, 4 were students. And Cudd says she was worried other school buildings would be taken over.
It is incumbent on us to serve all of our students. Of course, we support the free speech rights of our students who feel so passionate about the horrors of war and the killings of innocents in Gaza. But we must take care of all of our students and provide a safe learning environment.
Though some students say police escalated tensions.
I think that the police always escalate a situation, and without police, there's chance of de-escalation.
Brady Rowland is a freshman at Portland State. She says if police needed to be called, it should have happened sooner, though she says police should have never been called. Others agree.
I fully support the protesters.
Will Scholes, a freshman, says problems worsened with more police.
There were very few violent instances, and there were also very few cops.
Still, they say vandalism was a step too far.
Camping out in the library is one thing, vandalizing it's another.
And since police have left, it's pretty peaceful here right now, and we've even seen protesters put signs back up by the library that say things like divest now and no looting, no damaging as well, 40,000 and counting, another sign right here. Now, President Ann Cudd says that this has been a traumatic experience for the entire university, and she's reiterated too that protesters had ample opportunity to leave before police came back in. guys.
Thomas, thanks for that report. About 13 miles away from Portland State's campus, more than a dozen police vehicles caught fire. Right now, it's unclear if this was related to the protests at PSU. It happened at a Portland police training facility on Northeast Airport Way, and that's where we find our John Adams. So, John, what have we learned?
Well, Tim, an arson investigation is going on here. PPB told me that a suspect wearing a mask cut through the fencing behind this facility where those training vehicles are housed in the early hours of this morning, set those vehicles on fire, and fled the scene. Just before 2 o'clock Thursday morning, Portland fire crews responded to several vehicle fires in the back lot of the training facility. Portland police say surveillance video shows a suspect cutting through the fence and entering the lot, then using some sort of ignition pouch to start the fires. 15 vehicles in total were torched, ranging from older Crown Victorias to new police SUVs. Firefighters were able to extinguish the vehicles before the flames spread to the main building. Police Chief Bob Day spoke at today's presser on whether this event is connected to the situation at Portland State.
I'm not naive to the fact that there may be connected, there may be some crossover, and we will certainly make sure that our investigators are in communication with one another as we look to make arrests and prosecute.
Governor Kotek released a statement about the arson, saying in part, "I fully condemn the criminal actions taken Thursday morning that resulted in the burning of 15 Portland Police Bureau cars and endangers first responders and the surrounding community." Well, Chief Day also said today how critical these vehicles that are housed here are to training new PPB officers. But the state training facility is stepping in, loaning vehicles to Portland Police so the training of new officers can continue. Tim.
John, thanks a lot. Well, you can continue to follow the developments at Portland State throughout the night, on air and online. Be sure to download the KGW app for breaking push alerts as they happen. Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler took some time away from dealing with the civil unrest to give a preview of his budget proposal for the next fiscal year, which starts July 1st. It's an $8.2 billion budget that will require some tightening in most areas supported by the city's general fund. The mayor spoke during a virtual news conference from City Hall. He said his budget proposal will allow the city to carry on with programs that are lifting Portland out of what he described as its toughest period in history. To do that, Wheeler is proposing a 5% cut from all general fund programs, with 3 exceptions for public safety. Portland Fire and Rescue, the Police Bureau, and the Bureau of Emergency Communications will be exempt from those cuts. Wheeler says his budget is balanced and allows important work to continue in areas of homelessness, drug addiction, and downtown revitalization.
With these programs and many others at work, we laid the foundation for bold change and what I believe is ultimately going to be a strong recovery for our city.
The full budget proposal will be released tomorrow in advance of council work sessions and public hearings this month. And the Oregon primary election is less than 3 weeks away, so coming up tonight at 6:30, it is the final debate in the race for Multnomah County District Attorney. It's hosted by KGW and the Oregonian. The debate will air live on KGW starting at less than 20 minutes now, right after this newscast.
And we've got some showers sliding down from the north right now, mainly Clark County and East County. They're not going to last very long. Look at the clearing out at the coast right now. If only that was our weather for the next several days. It's not. The rain returns tomorrow afternoon. It's going to be a wet weekend, heavy snow in the Cascades, but there is a big warm up later next week.